I've enjoyed immensely this exchange with Dambisa and Hernando and Paul. I thought Paul's summation was so extraordinarily lucid and persuasive that I'm going to vote for you. I have 3 points I want to make. If I may, let's provide a moment's perspective. I don't know where the $1 trillion come from. I've never seen any precise sourcing.
From the World
But
Bank.
this year, $35 billion is going by way of foreign aid to Africa. $35 billion. You saw what we're paying for the General Motors bailout. It will be over $60 billion. You saw what the Pentagon spends in a year. It's over $600 billion. We now have $11.5 trillion internationally devoted to bailouts and subsidies. What we're doing with Africa by way of aid in response to requests is so picayune and marginal that it shouldn't be overly inflated. It is an effort being made as genuinely as possible to provide the transition to fully vibrant and mixed economies. Number 2, it's important and good to invite private capital in, but private capital tends to move to the one place where there is a predictable return, and that's in the natural resource sector. So you get China developing oil in Sudan. You get a number of private companies in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is having a war of the most insensate atrocity, which is rooted in the resource base. And it's important to recognize that private capital doesn't always go where you want them to go, nor does it have the consequences that you want them to have. Yes, I'm preoccupied with sexual violence. Drives me crazy that 250,000 women have been raped in the Congo over the last several years, and it's running at a level of over 1,000 a month in the Kivus alone, and it's all because of resources, and the resources are being developed by the private sector. It's terribly important to recognize that when one has these investments, they don't always work quite as you would wish them to work. Witness Angola, as my colleague gave evidence for. And the final point I want to make, which hasn't been introduced into this debate at all, but it's triggered by your reference, Hernando, to food. The International Panel on Climate Change, 2,000 of the world's most eminent scientists, has come to the conclusion that the consequences of global warming by the year 2030 will be felt most forcefully by Southern Africa, by all of the countries that are now consumed with the struggle against poverty and disease. Sometimes I think it's like some kind of conspiratorial network. But the fact of the matter is, if the panel is right, and so far we have underestimated the impact of climate change and global warming, there will be more drought, there will be more famine, there will be more hunger, there will be an absence of household food security. It is terribly important that the world not be so self-centered that what happens is what Paul referred to in his book, where he has a young son and he wants to explain to his son how 1 billion people were abandoned by the world. And aid is just a vehicle to make possible more humane and economically vibrant societies. It's not a mystery. It just works. It has been abused, but that's because of the way it was given. It need not be. And that's what we're arguing for. Thanks for having us.
Very nice. Very nice.